LeBron's point about defending Luka Dončić, backed up by the numbers. When Luka gets blitzed in pick-and-roll situations during the playoffs, the Dallas Mavericks score just 0.67 points per possession. For context, that's extremely low, especially by Luka's standards. Normally, when defenses switch or play drop coverage, Dallas is around 1 point per possession, which is solid. That gap tells you everything about how effective the blitz can be. Blitzing means both defenders jump Luka immediately, forcing him to give up the ball and make a quick decision. The idea is simple. It's better to make role players beat you than let Luka control everything. When this happens, the Mavericks center is left open as the release valve. For a brief moment, Dallas is playing with a numbers advantage 4-on-3 or 3-on-2, and what happens next determines whether the defense succeeds or fails. LeBron explained, "Defenses are essentially betting that the big man can't make the right play quickly enough, and most of the time, that's a safe bet. Unless you have a highly skilled playmaker at center." Teams leaned into this strategy heavily when Daniel Gafford was on the floor, because his decision-making in those situations isn't elite. Compare that to someone like Draymond Green, who thrives in short role playmaking, but players like him are rare. Even across all coverages, when Gafford is the roll man, Dallas scores about 0.95 points per possession. That's decent, but not great, especially considering these plays often happen near the rim. There have been plenty of possessions where Gafford catches the ball with a clear path, but lacks the offensive moves to consistently convert. Add in his struggles at the free throw line, and defenses are even willing to foul him rather than give up easy points. Now compare that to Derek Lively Tour. In the exact same situations, the Mavericks score an incredible 1.32 points per possession. That's elite production, and matches what you see on the court. Lively makes quick, smart decisions, either attacking the rim decisively or kicking the ball out to shooters, forcing the defense to rotate. His impact was obvious when Dallas lost their only game of the series against the Minnesota Timberwolves while he was injured. He's that important. Still, even with Lively playing well, blitzing Luka remains the right strategy. The logic doesn't change. You'd rather live with PJ Washington, Derrick Jones Jr., or other role players trying to beat you over a full series than allow Luka to completely take over. Another factor is Luka's off-ball impact. He's not particularly dangerous without the ball, so once he gives it up, he often stays out of the play. Even if he gets it back, the defense has already burned valuable time off the shot clock, forcing a tougher shot. At the end of the day, the formula is clear. The numbers support it, the eye test confirms it, and even LeBron James has pointed it out. The best way to defend Luka is to blitz him and force the ball out of his hands, until a team finds a true one-on-one answer or builds a uniquely versatile defense like the Boston Celtics. This strategy will remain the most effective way to slow down one of the most dominant players in basketball.
Not switching. Because they don't run many small pick and rolls. They run a lot of 1-5 pick and rolls, when it comes to, because the 5 is, usually not as mobile or whatever, not as agile. So they try to bring the 5 up, and they have those 2 lob threats, which Luka loves. So I know that switching is not it. We saw that at the end.
It's pretty clear that switching to pick and roll involving Luka Dončić is usually a bad idea, with a few rare exceptions we'll get to in a moment. But why is that the case? You could explain it in 100 different ways, but sometimes a single play says it all. Luka's game winner against the Minnesota Timberwolves in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals perfectly captures the problem. Most of the time, that switch puts a center on Luka out on the perimeter, and that's where things fall apart. Big men simply aren't built to defend in space like that. They lack the quickness and agility to stay in front of him, and that's not what they're designed to do anyway. Luka can isolate, break them down, and hit a step-back 3 before they can even recover. If they try to press up, he can blow by them and get to the rim with little resistance, since the paint is now unprotected. Sure, you can send help, but then you're giving up open 3-point looks somewhere else on the floor. At that point, you're just hoping Luka misses, which isn't exactly a great defensive strategy. There are rare exceptions. Someone like Bam Adebayo has the mobility and defensive skill to survive in those situations, but players like him are extremely uncommon. That's why most teams avoid switching against Luka altogether. Now, if you watched the 2024 finals, you saw one team handle this differently, the Boston Celtics. They didn't shut Luka down completely, nobody really can, but they did limit his efficiency. Their approach was simple: switch everything. The difference is, they don't have weak defenders to target. Jrue Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, and Jason Tatum are all strong, versatile defenders. Even their bigs Al Horford and Kristaps Porzingis held their ground better than most. By switching everything, Boston eliminated easy lobs and open corner threes. They forced Luka into more one-on-one situations without giving up clean looks elsewhere. Still, even they couldn't stop him completely. He had moments where he simply overpowered or outplayed whoever was in front of him. The reality is, very few teams have the personnel to pull that off. Most defenses don't have 5 capable switchable defenders on the floor at all times, and even when you do, you're still relying on individual defenders to survive against one of the best isolation players in the game. So what options are left? You can't play drop coverage because Luka will pick you apart with time and space. You can't switch because it creates mismatches he can exploit. There just aren't many players in the league who can guard him one-on-one consistently. That's where LeBron James's solution comes in.
I just did process of elimination, JJ. I will say blitz and place the onus on the 5-man in the short roll to make a play. And let's see if Lively and Gafford and, Dwight Powell played a little bit because of, obviously, Lively's injury, in Game 4 or Game 3. So I would say that.
There's a stat that keeps coming up whenever people talk about how teams defend Luka Doncic, and it directly backs up what LeBron James has been saying. In playoff pick-and-roll situations, when Luka gets blitzed, meaning 2 defenders, trap him immediately. The Dallas Mavericks score just 0.67 points per possession. For an elite offense, that's extremely low. Normally, when defenses play more conservatively, like switching or dropping back, that number is much closer to 1 point per possession. That gap tells you everything. Blitzing works. And the idea behind it is actually simple. When Luka comes off a screen, instead of letting him read the defense at his own pace, teams send 2 defenders right at him. The goal isn't necessarily to stop him completely. It's to take the ball out of his hands and force someone else to make the decision. Luka thrives when he's in control. Blitzing removes that control instantly. From there, the ball usually goes to the big man rolling to the basket. That creates a short roll situation, often leading to a 4-on-3 advantage. On paper, that's a win for the offense, but in reality, everything depends on what happens next and how quickly that decision is made. This is exactly where LeBron's point comes in. Defenses are basically gambling. They're betting that the center catching that pass won't process the situation fast enough to punish them. And more often than not, that gamble pays off. Take Daniel Gafford as an example. He's effective in his role, but he's not known for elite playmaking under pressure. When he's the one making those short roll decisions, Dallas averages around 0.95 points per possession. That's decent, but considering how close he is to the rim, it's not nearly as efficient as it should be. On top of that, his struggles at the free throw line make him an even easier target late in possessions. Now compare that to Derek Lively too. When he's in that same position, Dallas jumps to around 1.32 points per possession. That's a massive difference, and it comes down to decision-making speed. Lively doesn't hold the ball. He either finishes quickly or makes the right pass to shooters like PJ Washington or Derek Jones Jr. That quick processing punishes defenses before they can recover. You could actually see the impact during stretches when Lively wasn't available, especially in matchups against the Minnesota Timberwolves. The offense looks slower, less decisive, and much easier to contain. Still, even with that improvement, the overall strategy of blitzing Luka continues to hold up. Because again, the goal isn't to shut him down completely. It's to make the rest of the team beat you over the course of a full series. Luka is far less effective when he doesn't have the ball, and every extra second spent resetting the offense matters. Even if he eventually gets it back, the defense has already disrupted the rhythm. From both a numbers standpoint and film study, The conclusion is the same if you want to limit Luka. You'll force quick decisions from everyone else. Unless a team has the kind of defensive versatility you see with groups like the Boston Celtics, where switching everything is actually sustainable, blitzing remains one of the most reliable options. Now, shifting the focus a bit, there's also been a broader conversation around the Los Angeles Lakers, especially when it comes to lineup performance and on-off numbers. But those discussions tend to get messy. A lot depends on context, rotations, and sample size, so people interpret them in completely different ways. But here's where things get more interesting. Let's talk about perception.at. The start of 2026. The NBA All-Star Game fan voting results came in. Luka Doncic received around 5.2 million votes. LeBron James, just over 3.1 million. And honestly, the most telling part wasn't the gap, it was the reaction to it. There wasn't any shock, no heated debates, no major headlines trying to explain it. People just accepted it and moved on, because by that point, the shift had already happened. The league and the audience had started turning the page. Everyone seemed to understand that except maybe LeBron, because while fans were voting, while analysts were talking, and while teams were quietly building around younger stars, LeBron was still showing up at 41 years old, competing like nothing had changed.